Today's guest is Holly Oldham, luxury residential cleaner, mom of four, and powerhouse entrepreneur who's redefining what it means to clean, lead, and teach with passion. Let's get into it.
When are you coming home?
Welcome to the show, Miss Holly.
Hi. How are you this morning? It's 9 a.m. in Florida. Where are you in the world today?
I am in Ohio. It is also 9 a.m., but it's super gloomy and rainy and has been for the last 3 days.
Well, it's the perfect time to clean. It's the perfect time to clean your house then, right? Let's get to cleaning.
I'm so excited to talk to you. My background is housekeeping, so cleaning, I used to enjoy cleaning, now being a housewife and like cleaning constantly. I'm trying to find processes and procedures that just make it less stressful for me.
Girl, I got all the things for you. I did it in reverse. So I was a stay-at-home mom for 11 years, and I had four children in my 20s. Well, guess what? Guess what? They're expensive. They're expensive. And when they get older, they're all adults now. All of my children are adults, and I'm a grandmother at 49. Became a grandmother. I was 47 when I became a grandmother.
Oh,
And
congrats.
thank you so much. It's a wonderful role. And it's so interesting to watch my children, how they take care of their home and they clean on certain days and they do it certain ways, like you were saying, like trying to find the time and the energy to do all the things that you need to do. And taking care of your house is like essential, right? I
Hmm.
mean, if you're not, especially like we work from home. I work part time at people's houses. I look at it as people pay me to exercise. Okay. Gyms are dirty and they're not interested in having them clean. I know. Not, I mean, look, I'm not knocking all of gyms, but I'm sure you would agree, right? That they could be cleaner.
Yeah.
Okay, we could always be cleaner. And, a lot of times the commercial industry, part of the janitorial industry, it's rushed. It's rushed. And I believe that commercial properties need luxury care. I also believe that everybody's entitled to luxury care, whether you live in a $10 million home like the properties that I take care of, or you live in a $200,000 house and you just don't want to do your laundry for the day and you want somebody to come pamper you. Talk about a great Mother's Day gift.
Yeah.
Talk about a great birthday gift. Talk about a great anniversary gift. Flowers die. Chocolates make us fat and give us calories, and we have to exercise more, right? So give us something that we need, not necessarily something you can brag about to your friends that, oh, I got my wife this, or I got my girlfriend this, or give her time, right? I'm sure you would agree that if we were all collectively raised to save time and not money, we would be living completely different
Oh my goodness,
lives.
yes.
Right. So the janitorial industry, yeah, we clean. I talk about cleaning. I tell people what they need to hear in the janitorial industry. Like, why aren't you charging more? Why aren't you raising your rates? What are you doing? Right.
Yeah.
The cost of living is going up, and you're deserving and worthy of the price that you decide to put out on the table, so to speak. Right. This is who I am. This is what I can provide for you. And if you say that you've worked with Holly Oldham, I've made a name for myself in the last 2 decades in the janitorial industry. And that doesn't come without a lot of grit, sweat, tears, some blood, because blood happens, and all kinds of other biohazardly things that we take care of in the residential sector of of the janitorial industry, right? And it's important to be prepared. And I've been hired to find where people's alcohol is being hidden in people's houses. I'm hired because people just don't have the mental capacity after running their own businesses to come home and clean. So what? People aren't hiring me to clean. They're hiring me for the feeling that they get when they walk in the door and they know they don't have to do anything. I do protein shake meal prep for my clients.
That sounds
Holly,
beautiful.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, what, for example, mom, what did you have for breakfast this morning before we got on the podcast? I'm just asking, no judgment. Okay.
Th-
Real honesty.
This cup of coffee that I'm currently working on. That's it.
Okay. So I know you know, I know you know as a young woman that you need to listen to older women because we're wiser. We know stuff. Okay. I had a protein shake. And it was made with fresh spinach that I put in the freezer. I've got collagen and fiber and 30 grams of protein already running through my DNA. So you're telling me that maybe coffee's going to help you get through the day? Look, I'm not saying that coffee is bad. I got my coffee too, right? But we need to continue to take care of ourselves so we can continue to take care of our families. And if that means investing $1,000 for someone like myself to come in and take care of your home, organize your pantry, clean out your refrigerator, fold neatly all of the items in your drawers without even asking because I know that you need it to be done. So, look, in my previous life, 20 something, almost 20 years ago, I owned my own residential and commercial green cleaning company. That's how I used to sell it. I actually ran the janitorial side of the company. My business partner ran, or somewhat ran,
Hmm.
the general contracting part of it, right? So when I would go to people's houses, this is what I said. He makes the mess and I clean it up. And I had round the clock service, people helping me, a wonderful team that would help accomplish the tasks that needed to be done. However, I found out after building that business and getting up at 4:30 in the morning and
Mm.
getting my family's house ready before I go to network meeting at 7 o'clock in the morning, wearing my suit, going into the bathroom after I'm done, changing into cleaning clothes, making sure I had my toilet wand so I could take care of my family and go home at night. I found out after 5 years that it was no longer mine. I found out the business was no longer mine. So, what
Goodness.
does any powerful woman do? She pauses and she reflects. And she decides how it is that she's going to move forward with her life. And these podcasts, they're not just about selling products and making a gazillion dollars, it's about making a difference in people's lives. I help people learn how to make money in the janitorial industry. Let's just say your listeners, right? You have a cleaning business, right? And you're making $25 an hour. Okay. Somebody told me the other day, and if I forget about this $25 an hour thing, I want you to remind me, okay? Somebody told me the other day that they charge extra to wash dishes in their clients' homes. Extra to wash dishes in somebody's home. Do you know if I charged additional on top of what I already charge my cleaning clients to wash dishes, I would be out of a job. All right. So it's important that we raise our rates because our clients, they are not hiring you to clean their house. They're hiring you because of time. They need more time. They need more energy. And it starts with what do we give our bodies? How it is we take care of our homes. Do you see anything in my home right now in the background that is out of place? Girl, I need to go to other people's houses so I can have something else to clean, you
I
know?
am envious.
Look, and I'm not and I'm not saying all these things to brag, okay? If you know anything about me, I highly recommend Google me. Um, Google pause, reflect, move forward. It's a poem. Those four words changed my life. It's been 9 years, and I I between 2018 and 2019, I actually traveled around uh, to different parts of the country reading self-love and mental wellness poetry, uh, erotic poetry, comedy about my life. Because look, if we can't laugh about the BS, like what are we even doing? We're just going to cry about it, and life's entirely too short for that. So I have the $25 is what I started charging in January 2021. That's what I wanted to come back to. And when I had my first cleaning business, like 15 years ago, I think it was now, I charged $29 an hour per person per hour. So for 4 hours of labor is $116. What would you say if that's what I make today in an hour?
I say you earned it.
Wouldn't that be someone that you would want to pay attention to?
Hmm.
However, what's happened is, unfortunately, this word competition comes into play. And I'm not in competition with anybody but myself. And so it's a different mentality when you start caring for millionaires, which is who I cater to. I cater to millionaires. Other people, people who aren't millionaires, they still hire me. However, it's not as regularly, right? Because they're investing in me. If somebody's going to invest in me and pay me a couple $1,000s, come take care of their house, don't you think that I'm going to invest in them and give them 115 flipping percent of my energy and my time? Right? When somebody is providing a service to you and it's saving you time, if you're listening and you're not part of the janitorial industry, thank them. Let's, let's just say thank you to us, right? Like, and if you give gratuity, that's even better.
Oh my
Thank you
goodness.
so much, girl. When I received my first $900 gratuity,
Hmm.
what do you think I did with it? What do you think I did? At this point in my life, I'm 49 years old. What do you think I did with that $900?
I'm not sure. I would probably reinvest it into the business that got me the 900.
I invested in my happiness and whatever that looks like. I was like, well, I could take the $900 and I could put it into this right here, but I'm just going to let it marinate for a minute because I didn't understand. I didn't learn about what financial freedom was when I was younger. When I was younger, at 18 years old, I was handed an inheritance. I was,
Nice.
here you go. Here you go, Hall. Here's $80,000. That's what it was. Here's $80,000. I'm 18 years old. My parents had no financial education and and I was 18, so I'm considered an adult and I know everything, right? Nope, didn't know everything. I gave it away to everybody. Everybody that needed money, I gave it to them. I just gave it away. My first husband, my second husband, and then you know what? Fast forward when I decided to leave the life that I had created for myself, I left with $100 in my wallet. And when I signed my first lease, I had 68 cents in my account. When I'm telling you I built this business on $100, I need you to understand that it's possible, right? I'm not like my program is 297 US dollars. There are people in the United States that are saying that they can't afford to make money. Well, look, you can't afford not to. You can't
Right.
afford to not invest in these programs that are available online from people who are actually doing it. They can show you numbers, verify numbers. There's people that are out there that are going to say, I made $100,000 and I'm making six figures. Well, show me. Yeah, if you're selling me something that's this, show me.
Right.
Because if you ask me to show you, I'll, I'll show you the numbers. There's a reason why I'm in Business Insider magazine. I, I have to prove my income. I have an article coming out that shares that I make $82.50 an hour ironing for millionaires. I mean, I don't know how to make it any clearer to other people. And I'm so grateful that you're allowing this platform for me to be on to share this information. The $297 includes a contract so you can protect yourself. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. She's like, I've had cleaning ladies my whole life. Nobody's ever asked me to sign a contract. Well, as an empty nester, uh, and no matter what color we are in the United States and around the world as women, we're minorities in business still and in life in the world, right? It's important that we protect ourselves and whatever that looks like. And if all you do is buy the $297 program and take the contract that I had prepared for myself that I use with my clients, I paid more than the contract. I paid more than than I paid more for the contract than what I'm paying for. You're paying for the program. Pardon me. Right. So I have to put something on it. It's a tax deductible, right? You send it to your bookkeeper, your accountant, write the $297 out, figure out how it is that I got up to over $100 an hour in income. Like, and I work part time. Like, I don't know anybody my age that is doing this cleaning business and is not sore at the end of the day. Do you know why? Because if they're making the money that I'm making, they're working 5 days a week and schlepping vacuum cleaners from vacuum cleaners. Do you know you don't even need a vacuum cleaner to start your own business, cleaning business? Did you know that? What was the first thing that you bought when you had when we started our cleaning businesses? Right? Pardon me. My bra strap. This is real life, folks. My bra strap's fallen and I can't stand it. These stupid things. I don't know why I got one on. But go ahead. What was the first thing? A vacuum cleaner, maybe?
Maybe sponges or microfiber rags.
Well, but the equipment wise, a vacuum cleaner is like you
Oh,
think, oh, that's
yeah.
essential. You start in clean coming, you have to have a vacuum cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
No, forego buying the vacuum cleaner and buy my program instead. Okay, you don't need a vacuum cleaner to vacuum other people's homes, and it's disgusting. First of all, why would you want to have as a consumer? Think about it. Do you want somebody else's vacuum that's been in somebody else's house vacuuming your house? That's disgusting. No, we don't. And then what so the conversation that needs to have had, right? So here's a little like coaching, if you will. So this is what you say. Well, because this is what I said. And I know it works because I did it. When I told you when I started my first cleaning business, I had 68 cents in my
Yeah.
thing, right? Signed my lease. I didn't have the money for a vacuum cleaner. I didn't own a vacuum cleaner. Okay. So, because I had been in the industry before, I reached out, a network. I've never paid for an ad. I've never paid for an ad anywhere. And I've made most of my money on Facebook.
Good for
Okay.
you.
Um, so circling back, what was I saying? Tell me right before.
You never own a vacuum.
I never owned the vacuum. So the conversation that I had, right? I said, when we spoke on the phone, right? Because I believe like it's more personal to have these phone conversations, especially initially, right? Hi, Miss So and so. How's everything going? Blah, 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 blah. Where do you live? That kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have your own vacuum cleaner? I do. Oh, good. Because I started my business during COVID, okay, January
Yeah.
2021. Because due to COVID, I do not suggest as a professional janitorial person that you have anybody else's vacuum in your home that's been used in someone else's. And when you present it that way to people, it makes people like it's programmed and conditioned that the cleaning lady has to carry the vacuum cleaner. Well, guess what? We're not paid to carry equipment, or are we? I am. If I have to pick something up, I'm being paid for it. If I have to do laundry, I'm being paid for it, right? It's important that you include your massages in your fee at the end of the week, right? We have to take care of our bodies. So, do you have any questions for me?
I do so many. You brought up so many trends and common things that you hear in the janitorial industry in general. And so, whether that's commercial cleaning, whether that's residential cleaning, my background is in hotels, lodging industries. Well, you talked about the soreness, you talked about the importance of massages, you talked about um, the blood and biohazards, and you talked about the price and gratuity. You talked about how essential cleaning is and how I think personally, I feel like because it's so essential, just like breathing or eating, it is often overlooked when someone does it for you. And so, having someone like you who can step into your space and clean it for you and do more than cleaning, like you said, you clean it, you organize it, you make the space functional, livable, you make it viable for the people that occupy it. And that, when I say that, it's so important for several reasons. It's so important to me, one, because just as a former housekeeper and a housekeeping manager, I have worked with and understand the people who do that for a living, right? Not exactly to your extent, right? Never been around people who work for millionaires or work residentially or full on organized homes, but we're flipping hundreds of rooms daily for several strangers and making sure that the room is prepared for the next stranger to come in and not even trace a sign of the previous stranger that was in the room. And we're doing so and expected to do so in just a little bit of time. And every day for a year, right? And around September, there is a week in September every year called International Housekeeping Week. And during that week, it is our duty as leaders to try our best to show housekeeping appreciation. And I have always wanted to set up massages for our cleaners. I personally did both of my pregnancies while cleaning, pushing 300 plus pound carts, squatting. I remember there were times where I would be so focused on cleaning, I didn't realize how much my body hurt. And I would be cleaning from 7, 8 a.m. till about 11 o'clock at night at these hotels. And I
Yep.
lived an hour away. I'm full blown pregnant, like heavy belly, everything. I lived an hour away. The drive home, where I was required to sit for an hour, my body would settle and I would get in my driveway and go to turn out of my car and just start crying because my husband used to like help carry me up the stairs because the bottom of my feet were just so tender I couldn't step. It is so
I know.
drastically
I
um
know. I know. I know.
so to hear you speak about how important it is and how like the rates are worth it and how important the service we have is and how important it is to
Sure.
show gratuity, I appreciate you for that because I really do not feel like we in the janitorial industry are seen.
But here's the thing with the gratuity, okay? I do not rely on gratuity. And when you raise your rates, you want to include the gratuity that you believe you should already receive and put it in your fee now, y'all. I mean, look, are the clients that I take care of, are they few and far between? Yeah,
Hmm.
they are. And when we personally develop, we automatically business develop. And that's really what part of my program is. I talk a lot about mirror work, about the conversation that you're having in the mirror. Like, is the life that you're leading right now, is it the life that you want to? Or what does that look like? Like, let's create it together. Let me help you achieve that. Right. So you can hire me for one-on-one coaching. And I have regular, people that uh, reach out to me. We have monthly follow-ups. I'm their accountability partner. Like, girl, what are you doing today? How much money did we make this month? Right. We want
Hmm.
to encourage
I
other
love that.
sisters, other women, other brothers, other everybody, right? And so we want to encourage uh, eating right because your stomach is your second brain. If we can control what our fork and what goes in it, right, and stay away from alcohol, because you know what, I can't tell you, I do not drink alcohol. I've chosen to not drink alcohol several different times in my life for personal reasons. One, because it's too many flipping calories to start. Like, it's too many
Hmm.
calories. I'm the best shape of my life at 49 years old. If I was out dancing for 3 hours last night.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
49 years old. I run my own cleaning business and I'm taking care of all the things. However, I wouldn't be able to do it if I was doing this 5, 6, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
If I was working 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. at night, would I be able to go out for 3 hours and post a video online showing me living my best life? No, it's because I've done the work and I'm trying to do my best to teach y'all how to do it now.
So, Miss Holly, I actually have a question. This is a personal question.
Get it, get it.
I am recently a stay-at-home mom. So I started staying at home back in March of last year. But at the time, my children were in school, they were in daycare. And so I had a lot of time to myself. I was in grad school. So majority of the day I was in school and then I had all day to take my time, clean, cook, and with them being so much smaller, the house was not messy. Now I am a full-time stay-at-home mom
Mm.
with two. They stay home now. Their
Only
ages
two? Only two?
they are ages 3 and 2.
Oh,
And I won't just say that it's them. They actually I've raised them well. I love them so much. Cleanup time, they're really good at putting their things away. They know how to categorize. They know where their things go. But I mean, they're messy babies. And I spend
yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
time
yeah.
running behind them. And so I found myself having like full house cleaning days once a week. And then I tapped out of that. So then I started assigning like areas of the house one day a week. So like Mondays, I like deep clean the kitchen. Tuesdays, I do all the bedrooms, everything needed in the bedrooms, and so on. Like
Yep.
today, what is today? Oh my goodness, I don't even know the day of the
Tuesday.
week. Today's Tuesday,
Tuesday.
yes. So today I'm changing when I get off of this, I'm changing sheets, I'm dusting window sills and surfaces, I'm vacuuming floors, reorganizing,
I'm
whatever.
so proud of you. First of all, I'm so proud of you because I know what it's like to be a stay-at-home mom. You get like no thank yous. Hopefully, your husband is saying thank you to you when you get home, dear. I sure
Not
hope he
only is
is.
not only is he
That's
saying
oh,
thank you, he also helps. He does. He helps when I ask.
yes,
He helps sometimes even when I
love
don't
it,
ask. But
girl.
just
I did
him.
all of it. Never got a thank you, so I'm so happy for
Oh,
you.
no,
I'm
I'm
so
so
I had to.
appreciative of my
I
husband.
look. I had to get divorced to get appreciated and make some money.
Oh.
I gave it all to him. Now,
I just it's still so much, and I think maybe because I come from a clean so my father was Jamaican, my mom is Southern Georgia woman, we grew up in a strict clean home, and then I
sure.
went into the housekeeping industry, and I became an
Hmm.
executive housekeeper, so my level and expectation of cleanliness is completely different than his, and
Hmm.
so even with his help, I find myself going nuts, like, "This place is not clean the way I want it to be."
Yeah. Well,
What
you
is
need to give
your
yourself a break. Give yourself a break.
I was gonna ask, what is your recommendation or suggestion for how I should be managing this stage in my life? I want my house to look like that, your background, but I have 3 kids and a husband, 2 kids and a husband running around. Is that
Okay,
even
so
realistic?
of course it is. I mean, I'm living proof. I mean, my I had my two middle ones were 19 months apart. Okay. So my children now, I mean, if you can even imagine when I was running my cleaning business in my 30s, I had 309 clients.
Mm,
I had three children under 5
goodness.
and one was 9. Okay. Do you know what I did for my sanity during that time?
Please tell me.
I exercised. I ran marathons. I ran half marathons. I started learning about how to take better care of myself because the what you give your body is really fuel. If we really stopped as not just Americans, even though Americans were worse, right? Stop eating for pleasure so much and
Mhm.
start using exercise as pleasure because it really creates those endorphins. I you're talking about all the toys being everywhere, the babies being 2 and 3 years old. Like, let them screw the house up all day long. Let it be a mess all day long. And then put all the toys away. Don't, there's too much responsibility when you're managing your own home, which is why I'm a house manager. Okay. So if you're listening to this show and you're in a similar situation where you just don't know how to manage it all, like just do 15 minutes a day. Set a timer. I mean, so here's what my life used to look like at the end of the day before my spouse would walk in the door. Okay? My children were only allowed to watch TV for a half an hour.
Mhm.
I would not let them stare at a square. I wanted to be the one to give them the education that they needed. Okay? Those are my choices. Uh, and I think I did the right thing. Okay? I would have them use their imagination. You know, when I was growing up, I was playing house.
Yeah.
I had a Barbie house. I was, um, you know, always the mommy, taking the babies and taking them in my Corvette. I had Barbie Corvette or I had the Barbie motorhome. So I've been playing Barbies my whole life.
Mhm.
Okay. Not necessarily the Barbie. I don't have the long hair, blonde hair, and blue eyes. However, I do believe in the principles
Yeah,
of Barbie. I don't know if you saw the Barbie movie.
I
It's
did.
okay. I think Barbie can do anything.
Yeah.
I think I love what she has done for women over the years. And we can do it all, but we have to start with ourselves first. If we're not taking care of ourselves mentally, spiritually, the food that we consume, how is it that we're going to be able to care for our families as we age? Because here's the thing, realistically speaking, you start taking care of yourself, you're going to start setting examples for those children. I mean, all I know is when my daughter was in college, my oldest daughter was in college, and she said she went to the grocery store and she bought spinach for her protein shake. I feel like I accomplished something as a parent. I mean, she's choosing the spinach for herself. She's watched me go from here to there to where I am now. All of my children have. And so it's our responsibility. Like, as parents, I didn't know this when I became a mom at 21, but like, we're the example. It's ridiculous.
Mhm,
Like, whatever we do, they're going to do or learn from us or whatever. But here's the thing, I'm, I've made a gazillion mistakes in
mhm.
life and in business. But if you just give yourself what you need to succeed, food wise, environmentally wise, I clean with all non-toxic products. My clients ask me, what is it that I was doing to care for my body? Holly, how is it that you're working 8 hours at my house and doing window cleaning and doing gardening and doing all these things? Well, it's because of what I make. Would you like me to make them for you? So now I make them and they take them out of the freezer. I do meal prep for a week. The protein shakes. They have two protein shakes a day. They take them out of the freezer in the morning. They take to lunch with them, or if they're working from home, they can just go to the fridger, stick a reusable straw in a reusable plastic bag because we don't need to add more garbage to the environment. I do daily beach cleaning for the last almost 5 years now. It's changed my life. Do you know how much
I
garbage
read
is in the
that.
world?
Oh, yeah.
And can you imagine what the world would be like if the cleaners of the world decided to not show up?
Mhm. I can,
Well,
actually. It would be a dystopian fiction.
there's supposed to be more trash in the ocean than fish. And listen, recently, I've always loved fish. I've always consumed fish, mahi mahi, crab, stone crab, blue crabs, you name it. I'm eating it, all right? Recently, I've developed a fish allergy where I get red on my neck. So, what's the bigger picture here? We're developing food allergies now in my 50s. Maybe it's because of what's in the water. Maybe it's because what's in the water. The animals are consuming plastic, garbage, whatever we decide as humans, because some people just decide to put stuff into the water. It's affecting what we're eating. So we have to be wiser as consumers. And, when it comes to people hiring me, what do you think, based upon the conversation that we've had right now? What is it that you think that they really hire me for?
I would hire you for peace of mind. That's it.
They're hiring me for the energy that I bring in. You know, I'm not bringing my crap. I mean, some days, look, I tell people, like, I've had some things happen in my life that, just like everybody else, that you just really don't know what to do. And some days it's a little heavier on your shoulders than others. And I've always found, and this is what I teach my students, like, be yourself. You just let somebody know where you are. When you're going into these houses and, I don't recommend going from, you're charging somebody $25 right now an hour. You tell them you're going to charge them 82.50 an hour. You're going to lose your client. Okay. There's a strategy about it.
Yeah.
All right, you have to strategically do this. It's strategy in business. And because I've had the experience behind me and I chose to do this solo because I wanted to be paid to exercise. I was going to the gym, I wasn't getting paid for it. Like, look, you get paid to do all the things that you want to do in life that you love. You just have to have a little bit more of a creative mind. So, my reason for teaching my children about turning that television off and allowing them to have their imagination is because look what I've been able to create for myself because I used my imagination. I mean, come on. It's not rocket science. I barely have a high school education. I never went to college. I was raising babies, you know? So it's possible. I thank you so much for having me on this show and letting my voice be heard, that it's possible. And whether you decide to take my program or hire me or however, right? Follow the message of pause, reflect, move forward. You could Google it, and I just hope it blesses you in some way. It's changed my life because I believe that there are three different phases in life that we all experience. We
Mhm.
we all experience a pause phase, a reflect phase, and a move forward phase. And it's up to us to decide which phase we're in. Like, are we in pause? Are we in reflect? Or are we in move forward? Right. So, which phase would you say you're in right now in your life?
I uh I think I'm in reflect. I think
Okay.
I am
Okay.
approaching move forward and I'm trying to figure out how, which is why I asked you the questions that I ask. I actually
Yes.
you've said a lot of things that I've so far been hearing in this book I just downloaded. It's a book called The Empowered Wife, and she
Mhm.
talks about like she has like 6 steps of intimacy, or like just ways to, like, make your housewife relationship better with your husband and your children. And it all
Yeah.
starts with taking care of yourself. Like, the moment you take care of yourself and start focusing on the things that you want to do,
Yeah.
the more relaxed and happy and at peace in yourself you'll be, and that naturally
Yeah.
attracts everything to kind of just fall into its place. And so hearing you say that, I'm like, oh my goodness, as soon as I hang up, I'm gonna listen to this book and clean bedrooms.
Oh yeah. I mean, having a schedule is important, and I know you know that. But as a
Hmm.
mom, as a business owner, it's important to be able to. We just need to be able to have grace for ourselves. And it's so important that you have a supportive spouse. And if you don't, like, you need to ask yourself, why don't you? And if you're really willing to continue on in that relationship. I mean, look, I just I just didn't. I mean, I'm so happy to hear that you have a supportive spouse. I just did not. And you know, life was really busy when we had the 4 children and the 309
Yeah.
clients, or the motor homes, the houses, the rental properties. All right. There was just no time for couple.
Yeah.
Okay. So we failed our children in that way, but in a way, I believe that me having the courage to say, you know what, we don't need to stay for the children. I need to leave for the children. So they know that it's important to stand up for yourself and have these boundaries, right? Boundaries are important. And, when you teach your children from a beginning of, their lives, that they have to put their cup in the sink when it's done.
My
It's,
3-year-old
it's,
is she's picking up hers and she's picking up her 2-year-old's, and I hear
teach them how to, yeah.
I love it. Even their clothes, they have their own basket in their room,
That's
and
right. That's
when we're
right.
taking off
Because
clothes
it'll
for
make
bath
your life
time, they
easier.
yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And you just practice, practice, practice. Just like you teach them how to walk, teach them how to clean. Because, look, not everybody can afford to hire me. Okay.
Yeah.
They need to learn how to be able to take care of themselves. All 4 of my children are adults. They're all on their own and independent. So, despite the BS that maybe they had to live through, right? And I'm sure they did, like I did, like my spouse did. My ex and I did pretty good. They're self-sufficient. They stand up for themselves. They have boundaries. They're sarcastic. The girls are all sassy. I have 3 girls. My son is the youngest. He'll be 19 this
Oh.
summer. You know, so just create an environment for you and your family to thrive in. And then once you do, whether you're a consumer or you're in the janitorial industry, it's your business will shine through naturally. It just does.
Let me ask some questions that um, I try to think from my previous position as an executive housekeeper. If I were able to bring you in as a guest speaker, or if I were to have the people in the housekeeping or janitorial industry that aren't fortunate enough quite yet to own their own business or work for multimillionaires. They are working for industries, they're working for schools or hotels, motels. Some questions that I would want to ask you to hopefully inspire them and, help them. So, one of you've already covered like taking care of yourself. I do think that that's very important. I've seen a lot of housekeepers come into work and, trying to get the day started with cleaning rooms and not have breakfast or coffee or just trying to get their day started off of a soda they picked up at the gas station on the way to dropping their kids off. And I'm like, you're starting your day off with this? And they're like, this is all I had a chance to get. Had to, get myself
Hmm.
together, drop all my kids off to school and make it here in time. And I'm looking
Hmm.
at a
I
board of
know.
20 rooms we have to clean today. And I have to calculate how I'm going to get it done by 5 o'clock because I also have to be back to pick up my kids. And
Hmm.
it is a
Girl, I know.
challenging it's a
I know.
challenging world, especially when you're not working for yourself, where you can't really there's a
I have
limitation.
to. I
Yeah,
have to work for myself. I couldn't work for anybody else. I couldn't afford to live my life that I want to live. I've taken myself on dream vacations just in the 4 years I've had the business. Okay.
yeah.
On an Alaskan cruise, I took myself to Honduras and Mexico. I'm taking myself to San Francisco for my half birthday. If you know anything about me, I celebrate my half birthday every year, June 30th, in case you're taking notes. My birthday is December 30th. I'm going to be 50 at the end of the year, and I'm taking myself to Paris. That's on the list, right?
Oh,
But because of what I created, not because I work for somebody else. Look, ladies, gentlemen, you're in the janitorial industry and you're working in hospitality. Okay, look, you can make a living working for somebody else. I mean, it's a choice. However, if you look at it this way, the mentality, all right, it's different. So when you start working for millionaires, you have to change your mindset. I mean, you just have to. It's not, you have to change your mindset. And if you say, um, I'd, I'd like to make $35 an hour, right? Going into a hotel, I'd like to make $35 an hour. Now, let me ask you, as a manager of all of these different rooms, were you making $35 an hour?
oh my goodness. My housekeepers were making more than me. They were making $15 an hour, and that was because they were there as much as I was. So they made overtime. As a salaried, non-exempt employee manager, I
Right.
made very little compared to the time that I was there.
And
On average, I
right.
probably was making $10 an hour if you looked at the amount of time I was there and how much I got paid. It was god awful.
Well, look, and so here's the thing. You have to ask yourself if you're worthy. The answer is always yes, okay? Just so you know. The answer is always yes. You're always worthy of $35 an hour. However, the the part that you have to work on as an individual, right? When you're doing your pricing for the cleaning business, okay? You have to say in the mirror, right? You have to go, Holly, you deserve $35 an hour. And then after that, you have to see, how do you feel about that? There's nobody that's going to pay me $35 an hour. Or I'm worth more than that, right? I mean, the conversations that we have with ourselves are more important than some
Yeah.
of the conversations that we have with other people. Am I right?
Hmm.
Okay, those are most important. The conversations that happens in here are the ones is how it's going to reflect out here. So
Yeah.
if you're miserable in here, guess what? You're probably going to be living miserably too. Now, is it easy for me to think positive all the time? Uh, it's easier for me now than it used to be for sure. You know, and uh again, I hope that I encourage more people to become business owners. It's very rewarding. You have to be self-reliant. You can't get too comfortable with the money that you do make because at one point It could be gone.
Yeah.
And if you work like you don't have any money in the bank all the time, you'll always have money.
Hmm.
And I will tell you, as we're like wrapping up here almost, um, that time is more important than money.
Oh,
It
it
is
is.
more,
I
it,
don't remember the name of that movie. Do you know what I'm talking about? I think Justin Timberlake stars in it.
just in time, just in time.
Oh my, oh, that would make sense, right?
Mhm.
I haven't watched it in so long, but anytime we talk about time versus money, I think about that. Because if we had all the time in the world, we wouldn't need money,
Well,
really. Like
and there's another movie too. Have you seen Lucy?
Lucy with
It's with, I
Scarlett
think,
Johansson.
yes, 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 yes. And
Yes.
it talks about using all of your brain. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if we have the ability to think negative thoughts, we also have the ability to think positive thoughts. However, there's another part in our brain that we have to switch on. And that's the practice of what it is that we're giving our minds. So, what it is we're looking at. For example, what I'm looking at a tree. I'm looking at my balcony right now. I'm at like sitting at my glass door, right? Now, if you don't have that tree, you don't have that swing to look at like I have created for myself, go on Amazon and buy yourself a tapestry of the visual that you would like to be in order for you to thrive. It'll cost you maybe $15. And I highly recommend you do that. My daughter would like to live on the ocean. She's currently living in Austin, Texas. Okay? No ocean.
Yeah.
She's a Floridian. But she's living there right now. So she's in her own apartment and she's choosing to live on her own and make her own money. And I love that for her. And of course, I'm here whenever any of my children need me, and I'll help them as much as I can. So I sent her, I think it was $8. It was
Mm-hmm.
an $8 ocean tapestry with a window. So when she wakes up in the morning and she goes to work, because she works from home, because that's the business she wanted to have. She wanted to
Yeah.
work from home. She gets to look at that ocean every day. So ask yourself in the mirror, where is it that you want to be next year? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? Do you have a 30-year plan? And why not? Why don't you have any of these things? And then diligently move forward to make those things happen in your life. And if you want to reach out to me on social media, I'm on TikTok. I share exercises that I do on TikTok for uh for the work that I do to remain in
Yeah.
shape, so you can look
I would love
there.
that. I would love that. I'm gonna do that
And I
and
do it from
actually post
home.
it.
I do it from home. There's one exercise that, because look, as we age, one of the things that we get is like, and as women are flipping arms, right? I started hand washing floors, woman. I got guns now, man.
I will say I was the most fit when I was in housekeeping. Mind you, I was in housekeeping last March of last year. And so now I always tell my husband, like, I need to figure out something else because I don't care. I'm not, he's a gym head. I've never been a gym head. I don't care to work out intentionally. Like I got my fitness in high school through like dancing and marching in the band. And then once
Hmm.
I became a cleaning professional, I got my fitness from cleaning, pushing those carts. I had triceps and everything, squatting and tucking beds, my glutes and legs, and just everything was together. And now
Hmm.
I've been, a stay at home mom, and I'm like, I'm just skin and bones now. Like I need to work
Well,
out.
girl, I teach. On TikTok, I have a foot washing. You can foot wash, and I don't have a hand washing video. I have one, but I've never posted it. But yeah, it keeps you fit as you age. You don't need to pay gym memberships. Just clean your house,
Yeah.
people. And if you
Yeah.
can't, and if you don't have the mental capacity for whatever reason, because I do work with people that are just emotionally unable to clean.
Yeah.
There's a need for this, and um, unfortunately, wealthier individuals need it too, as small
Yeah.
business owners, right? We need to have the mental peace to be able to continue with our families, with our spouses, with our businesses, with our friends, because friends are important. And
Mhm.
I'd like to think that I have a friend in you for life. I hope we continue to stay connected.
I would
And
love to
uh,
stay in touch.
yes, 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 absolutely. So we are coming to a close. Any last questions you got for me?
Yes, because this is behind the service, it originally started. I mean, it has several purposes of why I started it, but I really wanted to give people a clear understanding of what happens in our industry that they don't see. Guests that consumers don't see. You know, they might be grateful and say, "Thank you so much for cleaning my house," or "Thank you so much for cleaning the room," but they had no clue what we did to get through it or what we saw while we were in there. And so, what is a crazy story or impactful story that you can share that you have seen or dealt with that you want to put out there so that one, other housekeepers can say, "Oh my goodness, it's not just me." And two, the people that we clean for can say, "Ooh, I'll think about that next time."
Oh gosh. Okay, so there are two.
Okay.
There are two things. Okay, so first off, I've cleaned more poopy and pee pee from pets than I care to admit.
Yeah.
All right? All right, it just happens. And it's a biohazard, okay? People, sometimes the animals have blood in their stools
Yeah.
and it has to be cleaned up. But would you agree or disagree that if you were paid $10 an hour or $82.50 an hour, which would feel better doing so?
Definitely 82. We got paid $15 an hour as housekeepers to clean up after rave partiers who puked and bled and 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 had exploding poop in the toilets, missed the toilets. So
On the
yeah.
walls, on the walls.
Yeah.
When I had a client, had notice, had, and I was not making $82.50 an hour
Mm,
at the time. Uh, I think I was at 55 an hour. I'm telling you, they sat down with I'm telling you what the visual, okay? Because you asked me, I'm giving you a visual. So your people that are listening can hear and see what it is I'm talking about, okay? So you know how sometimes you just gotta go to the bathroom and you gotta go, and sometimes you get there and it hits the toilet, okay? But not only does it hit the toilet, it hits the walls and splatters. You don't leave it for the cleaning lady to clean up. You clean up after yourself. And this is why it's important to teach your 2 year olds and your 3 year olds how to clean up after yourselves. Because I don't know about you, but cleaning that up for $55 an hour wasn't worth it to me. I no longer work for that family.
how inconsiderate. Like, I don't care how much you charge. We are people. Like, at this point, am I brushing your teeth for you too? Like, you could there are
And
things
here's
that
the
you
thing,
don't have to leave for us.
look,
Yeah.
and if they do, it's our job to clean it up, right? I'm not going to tell somebody they have to wipe the shit off of the walls.
Did they forewarn you?
No, do they forewarn you when you're cleaning a hotel room?
I've talked
No.
about that before. I've had some guests that I'm so appreciative of. I had a guest that said, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I gathered the sheets and I put them in the corner, but I, started my cycle and there's this." And then I've had guests who are like smiling at us at the front desk. I've walked past them on their way to check out. "Did you enjoy your stay?" "Yeah, absolutely." And I walk into their room and I'm like,
Okay, so let's talk about the second thing that I was telling you
yeah,
about. Okay, all right. So you know that I do stand up comedy and I do
yes,
uh,
ma'am.
this is what I write. So this is part of my skits, if you
Okay.
will. What's worse? What's worse than cleaning up millionaire male bachelor semen?
I knew you were
What's
going
worse?
there. I knew you
What's
were going.
worse? What's worse?
I don't know.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. 15-year-old entitled male millionaire boys. Steaming.
Yeah, no, I
That's worse. It's everywhere.
I hear that all the time, Miss Holly. And I've watched the stand-up comedians with like moms who have nothing but boys. There are several reasons why I don't want another child. But I am so fearful of like my two tots are girls.
Oh,
my husband's like, it would be nice to have a boy. And I'm like,
who
I hear what
says?
they do. I don't
Who
want
says? No, no. Look. I love my son, and I just want to clear that up. Like, I've never had that experience with him.
I
Okay, I just want to
hear
clear that up. I'm just saying that you know, uh, some people are just feel entitled, and guess what? I'm put at $82.50 price tag on it, so and sometimes it's over $100 depending. So
one
is
moment.
it?
I'm
It's
so
okay.
sorry.
Life has on. I mean, she's in the room. Let her be a
My
part of
husband
it.
my husband went
Okay,
in there.
okay.
I don't put her on social well, either of them on social media, but I'm gonna cut this up anyway, so it's
Why?
fine.
Why? It's so fun.
No, I love like any pauses or moments, I cut it up because I know we're like approaching the 56, but I've had interviews where we've gone on for an hour and 15 and I can cut it to an hour. It doesn't matter. And then they're like, I don't know if you could hear, but my husband's all in the back, like,
Oh no, I didn't hear any of that. I didn't hear
so
any of
it's
that.
fine.
I didn't hear any of that. But yeah, I look, I have to, as in the service industry, we have to just laugh sometimes. Like, really? Is this what we're cleaning today? Yes, we are. I am so grateful. I'm grateful that I'm being paid to exercise. I'm grateful I got money in my pocket. I'm grateful I got money in the bank. I'm grateful I got money. I can drive this car to get to where it is that I need to go. I mean, come on now. We got to be grateful no matter what. And in the midst of a storm, it's important to be able to see the forest through the trees. And admittedly, I have my own days. I've had decades where I've just been in the forest and never seen the trees. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, I encourage you to find people on social media. Everybody's online at some form or fashion, whether it's social media or they're Googling something or other. But find people that are positive, find people that want to bring you forward and lift you up because there's entirely too many people trying to lift you down or, to pull you down. And practicing pause, reflect, move forward has literally changed my life. Uh, you can purchase the from solo cleaner to essential house manager, whether you own a larger business or not, there's still some strategies in there to help you build your business. If you're listening to this and you're in another country, you can provide financial freedom by cleaning, and having etiquette is huge. I mean, you've seen my mannerisms through this whole thing. I'm not uh I'm obviously open. I'm not reserved. I mean, you have to watch people's body language and see how it is that they're listening, if they're paying attention to you. And, if if you, when you mention the $82.50 and they flinch, like, oh my gosh, well, you say what experience you've had. You say that I've worked with Holly. I've taken her classes. I've taken her online courses. I talk to her regularly. She helps me become a better business owner in the janitorial industry because robots, they're coming. I mean, okay, they're going to be replacing jobs. They're going to be replacing the lower end part of the janitorial industry. Okay, they're going to have people to come in and make, these robots are going to be able to make beds. Is it going to happen in 5 years? Probably not. 10 years? Probably not. However, if you're looking to make the janitorial industry a lifelong profession, and I know some people do, I love the janitorial industry. I'll always be connected to it in some way. However, you also have to be prepared for those robots to take over for you because they can do probably what like making beds and stuff. I mean, who knows? I mean, you have to use your imagination. If the Jetsons is what I watched when I was, growing up, the cartoon Jetsons. Do you know what that is? Have you seen
I
it
do.
before? Okay,
I
right.
do.
So these images that I'm saying about having a robot that's a maid, I mean, it's possible and it's already here. We've seen it in Will Smith's movies, we've seen it
Even
in
in
Robin
hotels
Williams.
now,
Yeah.
they're replacing what we call runners. So in the hotels I've worked for, we have housemen that aren't housekeepers, but they tend to the guests and they tend to the housekeepers. So while the housekeepers clean the rooms, the housemen typically either clean public spaces or they are the ones that deliver for housekeeping. So when
Hmm.
as a guest, you call down and ask for toothpaste or an extra towel or what may have it. Instead of sending housemen, and then housemen get a tip, and that's usually their chance to. Housekeepers are usually behind the scenes. They clean the room when you're not in it, and so housemen actually get a chance to interact with guests and get tips and get to know their guests, and it's a great engaging part of the experience. And now, like, there are hotels with little robots like delivering small items to the rooms. And I'm
So,
like,
see,
yeah,
so
it's scary.
well, it's not scary. I'm not scared. Do you hear what I'm saying? I mean, I
Mhm.
know you hear me. You're not just hearing me, but you're seeing me too. I'm not scared because I know that the service that I provide is needed. Okay. I know that there are people out there that need this service. And yes, I've been joking around, and I really hope you take this serious. It's coming. Our jobs are being replaced. Um, People are being sent back to different countries for the wrong reasons. And should that happen, and you have to go back because of the way the government is in the United States, would you agree or disagree that learning from someone in the States that's I've not experienced the hotel, I've not done that. The residential and combined with you, I'm sure that your listeners are glad that they have both ends of the spectrum that they can compare to,
Mhm.
right? And it's possible to make over $88,000 a year doing this. How do I know? A year, part-time, because I did it. Okay? I'm not selling you, oh, make $100,000 and you do this. Da, 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 da. Speaking the truth. And when you speak the truth, it allows other people to show up that way too and be their authentic selves, because I don't want to be in somebody's house that people don't trust me. When I worked in houses when I was making $35 an hour, people would turn things, like there was a bird, for example, there was a
Mhm.
bird on a shelf. The lady would always turn backwards upon my arrival, or when I was there, so I'd always turn
Yeah.
it around, you know and I took a picture of it. I took a picture of it behind and faced, so I would remember when I go back to her house if it's that way. And it was. When you work for people that pay you $900 in gratuity and pays you 3 months in advance, they're not turning something around to see if you're doing it. They know that you are.
I love that. I love your encouragement. And I love your entrepreneurial spirit. I love your positivity on entrepreneurship. I love how accessible you have made it for everyone to know that it doesn't take a certain level of money, history, education. Uh, it and I personally have met a lot of great housekeepers in the housekeeping industry who um, just couldn't function well or perform to their best quality in a hotel. and they're like, I'm just doing this just to raise funds for my own cleaning business because I love cleaning, and this job is making me not like it, or this environment is making me not like it. I can't clean in this capacity. There
Right.
are some housekeepers who love cleaning in hotels, and so I'm not trying to knock the entire experience, but personally, I know a great housekeeper who was a part of my team. She started as a housekeeper for a hotel that I worked at. She then became a supervisor. She then became my assistant. And then eventually she resigned. And when she resigned, now that I've recently checked back in with her, she's like, "Oh my goodness, Miss Courtney, I have been so busy. I started my own cleaning company and I am just booked and busy." And I'm so happy for her because uh, she couldn't, I don't know. It was like she was restricted, like her wings weren't flapping, and so I'm excited to post this, and I have all of your links and all of your website and links to
Thank
your
you.
courses,
Thank
and
you.
it will be in the, of course, it will be in the description, and so anyone who is thinking about it or want to even look into it, they definitely will have access to that. I'll even look at it myself. I personally am not interested in starting a cleaning company. My interest is in higher education, so I want to teach as a hospitality professor.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
there's things in there that you'd be able to apply to
I
your
bet.
course too. And I'm actually creating a new course. So how would it feel to make $9,500 in 3 days with only 72 hours of labor?
Oh my goodness, it would
How
feel
how would
liberating.
how would that feel? So
Liberating.
so that's my next program. However, there's a larger ticket price on that one.
But
Okay.
thank you so much for your time today, Miss
No
Oldham.
problem.
This was absolutely a blast, and
Thank
I look forward to
you.
keeping in touch with you. Bye.
When are you coming home?